Yeah. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in today. This is First and Vaughan. You know this show is bomb. Jakob's out here dabbing like he's Cam Newton. He's reporting on the NFL. He's the #1 analyst. He's speaking facts and haters can't handle it. But the real animal is RJ. When he has the camera, you know it's a party. He be filming and shooting, making these reels like a movie, editing scenes. He's the greatest cameraman, you can't refute it. Oh, this is First and Vaughan. 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 This is First and Vaughan, you know.
Thank you for joining us this Wednesday night, October 4th, 2016. Welcome to First and Vaughan. I am your host and analyst, Jakob Vaughan, and behind the camera, we have RJ Thomas. This is a weekly show, and we'll get better and better each and every week. Let's get started on recapping Week 4 of the NFL. Currently trending from Week 4 in the NFL, the Patriots signed rookie fullback Glenn Gronkowski to their practice squad. Glenn is the younger brother to star tight end Rob Gronkowski. Early in Week 4 last week, J.J. Watt was placed on injury reserve as he re-injured his back in Week 3. A huge blow to the Texans defense, but it also gives defensive end Jadeveon Clowney a chance to show his worth as he could be a draft bust. Seahawks cornerback Richard Sherman said this past Friday in an interview, quote unquote, "We really don't have a reason to trust the NFL." Players around the league will start to wear pink as we enter October, representing Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Redskins wide receiver Deshaun Jackson wore cleats in the game and during pregame warm-ups with yellow police tape painted on them, created as an advocate against social injustice. The NFL will be reviewing Jackson's cleats to see if a fine will be coming his way in the future. Continuing with the Redskins, their star cornerback Josh Norman was penalized for an unsportsmanlike conduct for celebrating after a late-game interception against the Browns. I did not know you could be penalized for shooting a bow and arrow. I guess that's just the Redskins' luck. Now this is interesting. The last time the Vikings started 4-0, their quarterback was Brett Favre, and he led the team all the way to the NFC Championship game. Let's end our currently trending segment with Eli Manning's thoughts on if the Vikings have his number. Eli responded to that comment with, "I don't think anybody on the Vikings has my phone number." Well, Eli, to me it sure does look like the Vikings have your number. And man, it looks like you may have given them Odell Beckham's number too. Now here's Jacob's pick 6. Here we go. I'm ready to take this recap of my top 6 stories from Week 4 all the way to the house. Bengals wide receiver AJ Green had a huge night on Thursday Night Football with 10 receptions, 173 receiving yards, and 1 touchdown. Over the Eagles' bye week, defensive end Fletcher Cox was named Defensive Player of the Month, and the Eagles' rookie quarterback was named Rookie of the Month. A major key player to the New England Patriots is coming out of suspension in Week 5, and this is the future Hall of Famer Tom Brady, following their first loss of the season handed by the Buffalo Bills 16-0, and this was their first shutout at home since November of 1993. Big Ben threw for 300 passing yards on 22 completions and had 5 passing touchdowns, along with Le'Veon Bell returning for suspension. Bell rushed for 144 yards and had 34 yards receiving on Sunday Night Football as the Steelers improved to 3-1. The Falcons had a big week against the Panthers with wide receiver Julio Jones catching 12 passes from Matty Ice for 300 yards. That was just the 6th 300-yard receiving game in NFL history. Matt Ryan is looking like the MVP of the NFL this year so far, and against the Panthers, he threw for 500 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns. Matt and Julio are the first duo to have 500 passing yards, 300 receiving yards in the same game in NFL history. Josh Gordon is stepping away from football to enter a rehab facility after being reinstated by the NFL this past year. Gordon says he hopes to gain full control of his life. We here at First and Vaughan hope that whatever Josh Gordon needs, he finds as he checks into rehab. Fantasy vision is what I like to call my vision of the upcoming week in fantasy football. I'm going to offer my advice and say add a few, drop a few, and start and sit these too. I hope you listened and watched First and Vaughan last week because my fantasy advice was spot on. Before we start, always start Bengals wide receiver AJ Green. Always. Alright, now to start. Here's who you should add. Go out and add running back for the Ravens, Terrence West. I added him right before Week 4, and look at the numbers he put up. He had himself a day against the Raiders defense, and is making a case to be the starting running back of the 3-1 Ravens. He's surprisingly only owned in 34.9% of NFL.com's fantasy leagues. Also add Chargers tight end Hunter Henry. In the past 2 weeks, he has had 133 receiving yards and a touchdown. He's only owned in 3.1% of NFL.com's fantasy leagues. These next 2 drops may catch you off guard, starting with running back for the Bengals, Giovanni Bernard. He isn't seeing the amount of touches he did last year as Jeremy Hill takes over as the #1 running back for the Bengals this year. And I own Bernard in my league, so it looks like I'm going to be dropping him this week too. Bernard's owned in 93.8% of NFL.com's fantasy leagues. Drop running back for the Lions, Theo Reddick. The Lions are mainly a passing team, and Theo Reddick is splitting carries with the rookie running back, Dwayne Johnson. Reddick's owned in 91.6% of NFL.com's fantasy leagues. And here's who to start in Week 5. Eagles quarterback, Carson Wentz. against a weak Lions defense that made Brian Hoyer look like he was a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, and we all know that man is not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Just don't expect eye-popping numbers from Wentz, but he will give you around 20 points this week in fantasy football. Jump on the Wentz wagon and start him. Also start Vikings tight end Kyle Rudolph. Last week I told you to add him, and he was the player on the rise. I hope you all did add him and start him, because this week I'm saying he will continue his early success as Sam Bradford's safety blanket. Now here's who to sit this week in fantasy football. Giants quarterback Eli Manning. In week 5, they travel to Lambeau Field on Sunday Night Football to play the Packers. And just sit Eli Manning, please. And also sit wide receiver Deshaun Jackson. Yes, I know Jackson has the ability to catch deep balls and rack up points for your fantasy team, but I'm saying after only having 5 receiving yards last week, nothing's going to change in week 5. So sit Deshaun Jackson. And if you are in a league with 14 plus people and you need a player to go out and give you at least 5 points week to week, I would pick up Alfred Morris, running back for the Dallas Cowboys. I picked him up in week 2 and I have not regretted it yet. This past week, I answered and helped a lot of viewers with their fantasy questions, and I will gladly continue to do so. Today we have a special guest, my friend, Jeremy Mayo. Fix that. No, this. Leave that there. Just fix the curtain. Yeah, there you go. No. Pull it that way. Pull it towards the camera. All right, I have a few questions for you to start this off. What are your feelings on Lady Gaga being the halftime show for Super Bowl 51?
Who's Lady Gaga? I have not heard of Lady Gaga since I've been in 6th grade. Back in the day, Lady Gaga had them bangers, but I think the streets really want to hear Chief Keef. Bar.
All right. I know you're a Falcons fan. What are your predictions for the rest of the season?
I know a lot of people don't believe in my Falcons, but I actually see the Falcons upsetting the Broncos next week in Denver.
It's a bold statement. Bold statement.
Bold statement by a bold person.
All right, now here's a question we can both answer. With all of Tony Romo's injuries, do you think his career is over?
Hey, don't give it up on Tony Romo yet. Realize he is the golden child of Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones loves him some Tony Romo.
See, and now my side is that Tony Romo, he needs to call it quits. He's had too many injuries, and hey, Dak Prescott, he's the future of the Cowboys.
I do agree with you on that, Jacob. He is the future, but give Tony Romo probably 2 more years before they kind of move on to Dak.
I mean, you could say 2 more years. I say 2 more games. That man will get hurt. He's projected to come back week 8 against my Eagles, so yeah. All right, let's continue this. Primetime games. We have Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, and Monday Night Football. Starting with Thursday Night Football, we have the Cardinals versus the 49ers. What's your take on this game?
Oh my God, don't even get me started about this game. So the Cardinals are 1-3 right now.
So are the 49ers.
49ers also. Arizona does not have Carson Palmer starting at quarterback, so that leaves Drew Stanton starting. I like Drew Stanton more than I like, what's his name? Blaine Gabbert or something like that?
Yeah, Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah, he isn't. I don't like him. So I'm going with the Cardinals for Thursday Night Football.
I agree with that. Cardinals will win in Thursday Night Football this week, but Bruce Arians did say that Carson Palmer does have a chance to play. So if he does, that could make the game a little interesting. Because, coming back from concussion, 49ers may have a chance, but I got to go with Cardinals. In primetime Sunday Night Football, we have the Giants versus the Packers. At Lambeau Field, I'm saying the Giants have looked weak this year, and they definitely will not be able to get a W at Lambeau Field. Eli Manning's throwing interceptions. Odell Beckham's getting hit by kicking nets. He's crying on the sidelines. It's just not a good scene for the Giants.
I actually have to disagree with Jacob. I think the Giants are going to go into Lambeau and smack the Packers. Give me a little Lambeau leap here and there. I see Odell Beckham having a superstar performance. He's known for shining on Sunday night games. I'm sure you all remember the one-handed catch against Dallas.
That is true. He does shine in primetime football games. Now for our Monday Night Football, we have 2 teams that have been struggling this year. The Buccaneers versus the Panthers. Now what's your take on this? I know the Falcons just went in there and they destroyed the Panthers.
So I have Tampa Bay winning Monday night. Carolina's defense has a strong front 7, but their corners are very weak. And when Jameis Winston plays the way he can, he will light up a defense. So I'm going with Tampa Bay on this one.
Jameis Winston has thrown 8 interceptions through the first 4 games in the NFL. Last year, he only had 15 interceptions. I'm saying the Panthers will bounce back from the beating they took with the Falcons. And Cam Newton, he did have a concussion last week, so I'm hoping he heals. And I'm saying he needs to get back to his MVP form. And I'm saying that the Panthers win on Monday Night Football. Let's move on to my next segment and continue this debate. We have the elite. Time to see if your favorite team is considered elite by Jeremy and I. Here's our top 5 teams going into week 5.
Top five.
My number 5 this week was also my number 5 last week. The 3-0 Eagles. They're coming out of the bye week. Carson Wentz is about to light up the Lions. A little Wentz wagon. This bye week gave the Eagles a chance to take a break, get their game plan going, and just destroy teams from the rest of the year. And what's your number 5?
At number 5, I have the Green Bay Packers. Even though they had a bye week, they look pretty decent, so I'm gonna give them number 5 spot, basically. We in here, Green Bay.
My number 4 is the Falcons. They play the 4-0 Broncos. The Broncos D will go up against a true offense in the NFL. The Falcons are playing amazing. Matt Ryan's early MVP. And you have Julio Jones, who is playing like he could be the offensive player of the year. If your Falcons somehow squeeze out the victory against the 4-0 Broncos, I'm saying there's a surprise team of the NFL, and they can go deep this year. Just watch.
With my number 4 pick, I have the New England Patriots. You know, getting shut out last week since 1993, that's embarrassing. You know Bill Belichick's going to have something to say about that. And they get Tom Brady back, so, you know, Gronk is going to go ham.
True. Gronk will do good. All right, now my number 3, kind of like his number 4, the New England Patriots. They play the 0-4 Browns. 0-4. We're talking about the Cleveland Browns. Tom Brady, yeah, he may start off a little rusty, but you know he's been working his butt off. And he's going to come back, and he's going to play top-of-the-line MVP caliber football.
Then at number 3, I have the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings defense has looked amazing. And who would have thought Sam Bradford would have got to the start he has? I'm sure Eagles fans didn't even see that coming. Even with the departure of Adrian Peterson, they have still kept tempo and are undefeated.
Sam Bradford, like I said last week, he's gotten his knees back underneath of him. And as an Eagles fan, I'm not mad. We have Carson Wentz now. And we got a 1st-round pick and a 4th-round pick for Sam Bradford from the Vikings. And at number 2 for me, I have the Broncos. They're 4-0, and they play the 3-1 Falcons. Like I said earlier, the Falcons are becoming the surprise team in the NFL and could definitely go deep this year. Trevor Siemian, he'll be fine with a shoulder injury. Broncos, they're taking care of him. He'll be good. They will be moving on to 5-0 this week, I'm telling you. I hope your Falcons can pull it off, but I just see them moving to 5-0.
At my number 2 pick, I have the Seattle Seahawks. Richard Sherman shut down every wide receiver he's played this year. Defense is looking great. Russell Wilson's off to a hot start. I think Seattle's got it in the bag this year.
Yep, and they do have the 12. And like I said last week, Richard Sherman, he's the number 1 wide receiver. He can walk the walk and talk the talk. Now my number 1 team going into week 5 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, my Eagles destroyed them last week, like I said. CBS had to change the channel. They won big against the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. The Steelers offense will tear up the Jets defense for another big win by the Steelers in week 5.
And then I have my number 1, the Denver Broncos. Mile high, baby. Von Miller, beast. Even with the departure of DeMarcus Ware, the defense still has looked good. And Trevor Siemian, as being a first-year starting quarterback, has not slowed down the Broncos at all. So this is why Denver's my number 1 pick.
And that was our top 5 teams of the week going into week 5. Make sure to vote on our fan poll on our Twitter page to tell us who won the debate between Jeremy and I. Thank you for joining us, Jeremy. I appreciate it.
No problem, buddy.
Hope to see you soon. Now here's my POTW, my player of the week. Atlanta Falcons wide receiver Julio Jones. Julio, like I said earlier in the show, Julio caught 12 passes for 300 receiving yards, and it was just the 6th 300-yard receiving game in NFL history. After that week, I bet the Panthers are wishing they gave Josh Norman the money he wanted. I hope you don't mind, but I have to give credit where credit is due, so this week I have 2 players of the week. My second player of the week in week 4 is running back DeMarco Murray for the Tennessee Titans. He was a mess last year with the Eagles, but he's back to his best running back in the league form. He is leading the league with 245 rushing yards and 1 touchdown, to go along with 132 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns this year so far. POTR, my player on the rise, is Cowboys cornerback Morris Claiborne. He has not made it a full 16-game year so far, but he's only been in the league since 2012 out of LSU. He made his first interception in the past 2 years this week against the 49ers and has been working all offseason to get better after being considered a draft bust. Claiborne has only allowed 37.5 completion percentage on the 24 times quarterbacks have targeted him. He has made huge improvements in the offseason, and I know he will continue to do so this year, and that's why he's my player on the rise for week 5. We have covered a lot in this week's show, but RJ, give me 30 seconds on the clock. It's time to go rapid fire in the pocket and tell our viewers what the NFL has to offer this upcoming week in the NFL.
Looking at the rest of the games for the 3 remaining undefeated teams, which team or teams will lose first?
Alright RJ, so we have the Broncos and the Vikings both at 4-0, and the Eagles coming off the bye week at 3-0. Looking at the upcoming games for each team, I say the Broncos won't lose until week 15 when they play the Patriots. And it will come to the game in week 7 when the Eagles and the Vikings play each other. So out of those 3 teams, I say it has to be the Eagles losing first against the Vikings in week 7.
Will Cowboys rookie running back Ezekiel Elliott continue his success this year?
RJ, I'll have to say yes. Ezekiel Elliott is my favorite player for the past 3 years out of Ohio State. But now with the Cowboys, he's running all over NFL defenses. Ezekiel Elliott is tied for the 5th most rushing yards by a rookie in their team's first 4 games since 1966.
Why hasn't Odell Beckham Jr. caught a receiving touchdown this year?
RJ, you know that's a great question, and a lot of people are asking that. But I would have to say it's the return of Victor Cruz and the addition of Sterling Shepard from OU. They now have a 3 wide receiver tandem instead of only being Odell Beckham. He had a career low of 23 receiving yards on 3 catches while being targeted 9 times on Monday Night Football. Also a big reason is that teams are getting Odell Beckham's head. This week, in week 5, he'll have a chance to redeem himself on Sunday Night Football against the Packers. Thank you for watching episode 2 of First and Vaughan. Don't be shy, follow us on social media. Give us a like, retweet, comment, or mention. We hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Be sure to check us out every Wednesday night. RJ and I will try to do better next week. Hope everyone has a great week in the NFL.
First and Vaughan, this is First and Vaughan, this is First and Vaughan, this is First and Vaughan, you know. Yeah. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in today.
Top five, top five, top five.